Does your dog tremble, hide, or exhibit destructive behaviours? These are signs of anxiety. Let me ask you this. How much would it mean to you if you could stop that anxiety today? Hi, I'm Dr. Kathryn Dench. I'm a Cambridge Veterinarian, and over the past 20 years of my career, I've helped more than 1,000 anxious dogs. And in this video, I'll walk you through the best solutions for canine anxiety that I've found. It doesn't matter if your dog has been anxious for 5 weeks or for 5 years. Finding the root of the problem and fixing it will give your dog a happier life. Before we dive into solutions, let's talk about a mistake thousands of dog owners make, dismissing their dog's anxiety as just bad behaviour. We tend to label it as bad behaviour or even aggression, and we think our dog is being naughty or disobedient. But those are the symptoms of what's going on and not the actual cause. As any good doctor will tell you, you can treat the symptoms from all different angles as much as you like, but if you don't look for and address the root cause of those symptoms, they'll just keep coming back. Let's understand why this matters before we get to the solutions. Otherwise, these things will keep happening, and that's where most people go wrong. You see, canine anxiety is becoming increasingly common. Some studies show that nearly 73% of dogs suffer with anxiety, and research into what this feels like from the dog's perspective shows that dogs having separation anxiety is similar to humans having panic attacks. Canine anxiety doesn't just affect a dog's mental well-being, it also impacts their overall health. When left untreated, anxiety can lead to a range of physical and behavioural issues, which include those destructive habits, aggression, and even chronic stress. This chronic stress in dogs leads to the release of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, which weaken their immune system and make them more susceptible to infections, illnesses, and overall declining health. Not to mention, constant anxiety disrupts their daily routine, affecting everything from their sleep patterns to their appetites. But it's not just about the physical effect. A dog suffering from anxiety often struggles to form healthy relationships, whether that's with their owners, other pets, or even strangers. They can develop fear-based behaviours like excessive barking, trembling, and hiding, which makes social situations a nightmare. It can be heart-wrenching for you as a pet parent to witness, and it creates a cycle of stress both for the dog and for the family. The longer the anxiety goes untreated, the harder it can be to reverse these behaviours. Remember, canine anxiety doesn't go away on its own. In fact, it worsens over time as your dogs age and their senses deteriorate. For example, if their eyesight or their hearing starts to deteriorate or reduce, they're more likely to get jumped or surprised by things. And for an anxious dog who's already worried about things going on in their surroundings, this extra level of surprise is likely to push them into a permanent state of fight or flight. I've witnessed firsthand how anxiety can turn a dog and its owner's life upside down, and I don't want that for you. So if you want to avoid unnecessary vet trips, medications, or even dealing with a sick dog, you need to help address your dog's anxiety. This is why, in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you some of the most effective early techniques I've used for anxious dogs. When dogs feel safe and calm, they can thrive. They're able to build stronger bonds with their owners. They're much easier to train. They can enjoy a more balanced and healthy interaction with their environment. And most importantly, they experience less stress in their day-to-day life. Understanding the root causes and applying the right solutions can make all the difference. So, let's dive into the steps you can take to help your dog today. The first step you need to take to cure your dog's anxiety might seem small, but it's actually the most effective one. I've seen it work with hundreds of dogs, and it's ensuring that your dog participates in daily mental and physical stimulation activities. So dogs are intelligent, active creatures by nature, and without enough exercise or mental challenges, they can quickly become bored, frustrated, and anxious. This anxiety is what then leads to destructive behaviours like chewing, excessive barking, or even aggression. When dogs don't have an outlet for their natural instincts, they turn that energy inward, which fuels their anxiety. But many modern dog owners neglect this need completely unintentionally. Busy schedules, limited space, not knowing what different breeds need means that dogs are often not getting the stimulation that they require. According to the ASPCA, too little exercise for dogs contributes to the development of physical conditions like obesity, heart disease, and diabetes. A lack of physical activity also causes behavioural issues like destruction, aggression, and overall lethargy. Now, it's easy to assume that a walk around the block is enough, but in reality, most dogs need far more than that. Of course, these activity level requirements decrease as your dogs age, but many young dogs today simply do not get enough exercise. Remember, keeping your dog healthy involves more than just physical movement. Mental stimulation is just as important to keep that anxiety in check. So adding in structured play, puzzle toys, or even basic training sessions can drastically improve your dog's condition inside and out. So one typical case that springs to mind is a border collie whose owners were puzzled about why he was always anxious. He had these repetitive behaviors that he would do in response to really normal things like the mail delivery or the kitchen timer ringing. But it turned out they weren't giving their dog enough exercise. After all, border collies were bred for herding sheep, and without that kind of outlet for their energy, their physical and mental enthusiasm gets directed towards other things. The next solution is something recommended to most dog owners when they tell their vet about their dog's anxiety, but it's something that I wouldn't advise they use long term, and that's anxiety prescriptions. Anxiety prescriptions are often seen as a quick fix to help dogs cope with stress and bring relief from predictable anxiety triggers or events. These are things like thunderstorms, fireworks, or going to new places. For senior dogs with anxiety, prescription drugs can also be used to reduce the cognitive dysfunction symptoms. And at first glance, these medicines might seem to be doing a great job in terms of making your pet look calm when they'd otherwise be out of control. And I get it. As owners, we want our pets to feel relaxed in all these situations, and I know you need a break from this stressful cycle of behavior. But there are two important things that you need to know about these medications before you give them to your dog. Firstly, the majority of pet owners don't realize that the drug most often prescribed for firework phobias and similar anxieties is actually an immobilizer. That means the dog quite literally cannot move, let alone react to the things that normally trigger their anxiety. So from the outside, we might see a dog lying quietly on her bed, but can you imagine what it's like to be inside her head? Seeing and hearing everything that's going on around you, but your muscles simply won't move. Needless to say, this type of medication does nothing to address the underlying cause of the anxiety, nor the stress hormones coursing through her bloodstream, which is affecting every internal organ they come into contact with. All the long-term neurological risks, cardiovascular risks, and cognitive health risks associated with anxiety very much apply. Secondly, even if your dog's medication isn't an immobilizer, one of the most common issues we see is rebound anxiety. This means that when the medication starts to wear off, the dog's anxiety can return more strongly than before. So this creates a cycle where the dog becomes reliant on the medication to feel calm and leads to long-term dependency that's hard to break. Not to mention, many anxiety medications can have side effects like lethargy, loss of appetite, and even behavioral changes like increased irritability or aggression. And that's why I personally don't like anxiety meds as a long-term solution. Yes, they can be helpful and even necessary in acute short-term situations, but they are most effective when they are used as part of a broader strategy, which includes behavior modification and also natural remedies. The goal should always be to reduce or eliminate the need for medication over time, giving your dog healthier and more sustainable tools to manage their anxiety. So this brings me to my next point, which is my favorite natural solution. Natural remedies for anxiety include calming supplements like chamomile, melatonin, valerian, and even pheromones. But at the top of my list for effectiveness is full-spectrum cannabidiol, CBD. Firstly, I want to be clear that CBD is not the part of cannabis that gives the feeling of being high. That is related to a different compound called THC, which is toxic to dogs. So it's really important to understand that distinction. And unlike medications that can cause dependency and side effects, CBD offers a more natural approach to managing anxiety in dogs without those harsh downsides. It can do this because there's a hidden system within your dog's body that helps to regulate stress responses and promote a sense of calm. This is called the endocannabinoid system, or ECS, and it was discovered by the award-winning scientist Dr. Raphael Mechoulam in the 1960s. Now, the ECS regulates lots of different aspects of the body's physiology, including the heart, blood vessels, liver, lungs, and even the digestive system, and it also affects the dog's overall mood, stress, and of course anxiety. When different parts of this system are communicating with each other, they use cannabinoids to coordinate the transmitters and the receptors. These are natural chemicals produced in the brain and other parts of the body like the digestive system and the circulatory system. But as with every hormone in every organ, human or canine, some of us produce as much as we need and others of us don't make quite enough. So simply put, CBD oil interacts with the ECS system in a dog's brain the same way that the natural cannabinoids do, helping to regulate all these different aspects of their physiology. And overall, this leads to effects like reduced anxiety, pain relief, and a sense of being at ease. I've seen firsthand how CBD can help dogs become more relaxed in stressful situations, whether it's separation anxiety, noise phobias, or even travel anxiety. But there's more to it than just giving a dose and expecting immediate results. Think of it like this. When your dog's anxious, nothing is going into their brain. An interesting study revealed how dogs with anxiety have different brain activity compared to non-anxious dogs. Here's what the researchers found out. Anxious dogs have higher activity in the part of the brain called the amygdala, which processes fear and anxiety. They also have dysfunction in the mesencephalon in the midbrain, which is responsible for sleep, vision, alertness, and hearing. Together, these pathways are known as the anxiety circuit. The bad news is that the anxiety circuit also has knock-on effects on the hippocampus, which is the brain area involved in memory and learning. With lower hippocampus activity, your dog's ability to learn new information gets weaker. It makes them harder for them to understand and remember their training. So if you train your dogs without bringing their baseline anxiety down, it's the same as trying to pour water into a bottle with the lid on it. Nothing will go in. But if you can get them into a state of calm, you find training becomes a lot easier and they become a lot more receptive to new information. This is why we see so many case studies on the use of CBD oil for relief of canine anxiety. Numerous researchers have found positive effects of CBD for dogs, as well as showing it to be safe and non-toxic. As with any supplement, if your dog is on existing medications, you should speak to your veterinarian before adding CBD oil to your regime, as your vet may want to monitor or potentially reduce the doses of your dog's other medicines. And there you have it. The secret to helping anxious dogs is now out. Hopefully this will give you a better idea of how to treat them, support them, and know what's best for them. Speaking of the best, check out Paw Origin's amazing CBD Happy Forever oil, which is our #1 choice when it comes to high quality, cruelty-free CBD products for your dogs. If you want to learn some more, click on this video over here, where we will reveal our top 5 proven all-natural remedies that will work wonders for your dog's anxiety. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.